haunting of Hollow Manor nestled deep within the dense, shadowy woods of Hollow Grove, Hollow Manor stood as a testament to a time long past. Its grandeur had faded, leaving behind an eerie, decaying structure that whispered tales of sorrow and mystery to those who dared approach. On a particularly stormy night, the manor's long-abandoned halls came alive with a presence that had lain dormant for decades. It was a rainy afternoon when Emily and her friends decided to explore the manor. The storm had rolled in suddenly, and the once bright sky was now a tumultuous sea of dark clouds. Thunder rumbled ominously as they approached the manor, the rain soaking them to the bone. Undeterred by the weather, they pushed open the heavy, creaking door and stepped inside. The air within was thick with dust and the unmistakable scent of mildew. The grand foyer, with its once magnificent chandelier, now hung precariously, its crystals dulled by years of neglect. The sound of their footsteps echoed through the vast, empty space, adding to the sense of desolation that enveloped the manor. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Sarah, the most cautious of the group, asked, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rain pounding against the windows. "Come on, Sarah, where's your sense of adventure?" Mark replied, grinning. "Besides, it's just an old house. What's the worst that could happen?" As they ventured deeper into the manor, the oppressive darkness seemed to swallow them. Emily, armed with a flashlight, led the way, her curiosity piqued by the stories she had heard about Hollow Manor. Legend spoke of a tragic love story, a mysterious disappearance, and the ghost of a young woman who still wandered the halls. They reached the grand staircase, its banister covered in a thick layer of dust. Emily shone her flashlight up the stairs, revealing portraits of stern-looking ancestors whose eyes seemed to follow them. She shivered, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the rain-soaked clothes clinging to her body. "Let's check out the upstairs," she suggested, her voice trembling slightly. Reluctantly, the group followed her up the creaking stairs, each step accompanied by a groan from the old wood. The second floor was even darker than the first, the windows boarded up, allowing only slivers of light to filter through. They passed a series of rooms, each more decayed than the last, until they came to a door at the end of the hallway. Emily hesitated before pushing it open. The room beyond was a bedroom, its furnishings covered in white sheets that had yellowed with age. A large four-poster bed dominated the space, and an ornate vanity stood against one wall, its mirror cracked and clouded. "This must have been the master bedroom," Emily said softly, her voice barely a whisper. As they stepped into the room, a sudden, bone-chilling draft swept through, extinguishing the flashlight's beam. The door slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang. Panic set in as they fumbled in the darkness, trying to reopen the door to no avail. "Did you hear that?" Mark asked, his voice shaking. A faint, mournful sobbing filled the room, growing louder with each passing second. Emily's heart raced as she realized they were not alone. The temperature dropped even further, and she could see her breath in the air. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. The sobbing ceased abruptly, replaced by a soft, ethereal voice. "Leave this place, it is not safe for the living." The group huddled together, fear gripping them. Emily's mind raced as she tried to remember the stories she had heard about the manor. According to legend, the ghost of a young woman named Eleanor haunted the house, searching for her lost love who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. "Are you Eleanor?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The air grew heavy, and the ghostly figure of a young woman materialized before them. She was dressed in a flowing white gown, her eyes filled with sorrow. "I am Eleanor," she replied. "My love was taken from me, and I am cursed to wander these halls until I find him." Emily took a deep breath, summoning all her courage. "How can we help you, Eleanor?" The ghost's eyes bore into hers, and for a moment, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of sadness and longing. "Find the locket," Eleanor said. "It holds the key to freeing me from this torment." With the spirit's guidance, they searched the room, eventually discovering a hidden compartment in the vanity. Inside lay a delicate silver locket, tarnished by time. Emily opened it to reveal a tiny portrait of Eleanor and her lost love. As she held the locket, a brilliant light filled the room, and Eleanor's ghostly form began to fade. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with gratitude. "I can finally rest." The door swung open, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The group hurried out of the manor, the storm still raging outside. As they reached the safety of their car, Emily glanced back at the manor, now bathed in an eerie calm. She knew they had helped Eleanor find peace, and in doing so, had lifted the curse that had plagued Hollow Manor for so long. But their encounter with Eleanor was just the beginning. In the following weeks, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the manor still held secrets waiting to be uncovered. She found herself drawn back to Hollow Manor, compelled by a force she couldn't quite explain. On another rainy day, Emily returned to the manor alone. The storm was fiercer this time, with lightning illuminating the sky and thunder shaking the ground. As she approached the manor, she felt an inexplicable sense of urgency. The door, which had been locked securely after their last visit, now swung open as if inviting her inside. Taking a deep breath, Emily stepped into the foyer once more. The air was thick with tension, and the familiar scent of mildew mixed with something else, something metallic. She followed the sensation, a flashlight guiding her deeper into the manor. She found herself in a room they had overlooked during their previous visit. It was a study, with bookshelves lining the walls and a large desk in the center. The desk was covered in dust, but a small, pristine journal lay open, as if someone had just been writing in it. Emily picked up the journal and began to read. The entries were dated over a century ago, written by a man named William, Eleanor's lost love. As she read, the story of their tragic love unfolded. William had been accused of a crime he didn't commit and had been forced to flee, leaving Eleanor behind. His final entry detailed his plan to return for her, but he never made it back. A sudden noise startled Emily, and she looked up to see a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It was William, his form translucent and his eyes filled with the same sorrow she had seen in Eleanor's. "William," she whispered, her voice trembling. The ghost nodded. "I was unable to return to Eleanor. I was captured and I died alone." Emily's heart ached for the lovers, separated by time and tragedy. "How can I help you, William?" she asked. "Reunite me with Eleanor," he replied. "Our souls are bound to this place until we are together again." Determined to help, Emily gathered the journal and returned to the master bedroom. She placed the journal and the locket together on the bed, hoping to reunite the lovers. As she did, a warm light enveloped the room, and Eleanor's spirit appeared beside William. The two ghosts embraced, their forms merging into a single, radiant light. Emily watched in awe as the light grew brighter, filling the room with warmth and peace. For a moment, she could see the outlines of the young couple, their faces filled with joy and relief. "Thank you," they said in unison, their voices echoing softly in the room. The light slowly faded, and the room returned to its former state. Emily felt a sense of calm settle over her, knowing that she had finally brought peace to Eleanor and William. As she left Hollow Manor for the last time, the storm outside began to subside. The rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, and the dark clouds parted to reveal a clear, starlit sky. Emily knew that the manor, once a place of sorrow and unrest, was now a place of love and tranquility. The story of Eleanor and William became a local legend, and Hollow Manor, once shunned and feared, transformed into a symbol of enduring love and the power of forgiveness. Emily's experience became a tale passed down through generations, a reminder that even in the darkest of places, light and love could prevail.